All right, welcome to episode 29 of the Crom Updates. I'm joined this morning with David Molina. We are working together on a little something for the next publication called Crom Anthology, which will come out when I complete Crom the Barbarian Collected Revised Edition, which at the end of this episode, I'm going to be giving an update. Literally today, I've made a huge leap forward. So I will give an update at the end. But David was David was the first guest artist I reached out to, having followed him on Instagram. Asked him if he wanted to play with Crom the Barbarian, come up with his own pinup. And it was so amazing that him, as well as all of the guest artists, are going to have virgin covers for the Crom the Barbarian Collected Revised Edition. So this is going to be super exciting. This is super exciting. And I get to play with comics and David. So, David, how are you doing?
Doing great, Kurt. Thank you.
All right. So you were busy. So last episode together, the two of us were together. We have been working out the Last Dryad. It's a 1960 pulp story that I had sitting around. As a matter of fact, you could read it on, I'll put a link in the description, Gardner Francis Fox Library. A real short story. We've got what did we agree? 6 pages is what we agreed.
6 pages, that's right.
Yeah, 6 pages. So we had come up with some, here we go. So we had come up with some ideas. And you went away and came back with a comic book page, which you're showing off right now. Let me grab mine. And two character sketches. So I'm just going to shut up and I'm going to let you talk about what is going on with the Last Dryad and your thoughts.
Sure. All right. Well, so at first I was, I've never worked off of a script before. So, we talked about making it into a 6-pager. And so there's got to be some condensing. And so at first I was, kind of grasping at, I don't know how to do it, to, tell the truth. I don't know how to start it. And so I emailed Kurt. I was like, man, I need help. And so I just put off the Last Dryad for some other time. And then
Sure.
I came back to it like the next day, and I was like, let me just put all my distractions away, because I listen to music, even watch movies when I draw. But I just put everything away and just started drawing. It didn't. I was like, it doesn't matter how it's going to come out. Let's just do it. And so, started with the first panel. They're walking down Gallows Hill, basically, right? And the road is worn. That's how the story goes. And so that's the first panel I came up with. And from then, I have a stack of a bunch of drawings I've done in the past. So I sometimes dive into that stack and see what I can glean from it, right?
You're talking about your
that's
panels.
How I came up.
You're talking about your panels.
Yes,
do. So like when
panels.
you're not in, let's say, professional illustrator mode and you're just dicking around, you actually make these comic book panels, either like a single panel or a sequential-ish set of panels on a page. Exactly. And by the way, link in the description to David's Instagram. This is something that I love seeing coming up in my doom scrolling through Instagram, because every time you get me every time, because in the beginning I would comment,
Yeah.
"Oh, what story is this for?" And you would be like, "I don't know. It's just a
Yeah,
comic book panel."
yeah.
But the fact that you use them as like a pool to dip into, that's incredible, man. It's incredible. So keep going.
Yeah, thanks for I've been doing that, accumulating drawings like that for years. Just keep me sharp, right? Because if I've drawn every day for the past, I'm gonna say 4 years. Maybe I missed a few days, right?
Nice.
Because that'd be ridiculous. But I do it every day, and so I have stacks. I mean, I'm really cramped in this little. It's a studio, but no, it's not a studio. It's a closet.
It's a studio the size of a
It's my
closet.
closet. And I don't know if you can tell, but check that out there, and
Oh,
it's kind of a mess in
wow.
here. But
Oh, that's a perfect
then I have
studio.
all this
That's
stuff over
great.
here. Yeah, but
Oh man, David.
okay, back to
Ah.
the drawings, right?
Yep.
You know what? I like the name you came up with last time. Was it the Last Dryad? I really think
Yeah,
that
you
that
do.
would
You
serve
like
its.
that?
Yeah, I do. I like that. I mean, it doesn't have to go that route, but
No,
I
I'm gonna
do
make a
like it
note.
a lot.
I'll just make a note. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And so yeah, most of these are some of them some of these panels I had in Invent, I guess, but a lot of them I got from my sketches. So for like the character, I would just call them character model sheets, even though I just have one image, right? But well, this is actually the first iteration of Clob hair. I wanted to do
Oh,
something wacky with his hair, right? I wanted to
it's
give him a
great.
gut.
Oh, it's great. It's so
So
great.
I came up with that character first.
Oh yeah.
But then I wanted like a, heavy metal-esque. So I was like, man, let's give him a black leather vest. Let's do that.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah, give him those kind of medievalish pants with the cod piece there.
Yep.
But yeah, kind of just heavy metalish. And for what's her name,
Doreen.
Doreen. Yeah, I I thought, okay, she sounds, she's Doreen the Weasel. So uh, I think some of her characteristics would be like kind of sneaky, sly, not really trustworthy, as we can see in
Mm-hmm.
the story.
Shifty.
Yeah, shifty. So, I came up with her outfit, and I was like, okay, they're thieves. They're going to do a job, so they need somewhere to put the loot, So I gave her a pouch. She can be the mule or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I did one more of her, just trying to flesh her out. I don't know if I'm gonna have her with long hair or whatever. But anyways, yeah, that's oh, and yeah, and also move this out of the way. I've been trying to design the maze that they're gonna be in. So
Ah, yes.
it's almost like
Okay.
yeah, it's almost like a mausoleum, right? And we have some stones back there. And there would be like a little forest type deal with shrubbery, and I'm thinking this is going to be like in. So I want it to look for now. I was thinking of a bunch of what do you call it? Circles, right? But
Yep.
it would form like an eye type deal, not necessarily, but that's what I was kind of going for. And then in the
Air.
middle would be that structure. Yeah, and the structure in the middle with the water around it, with a bridge type deal, land bridge, going towards where the woman is at, the tree woman. That's my thinking now. It might change, but um, oh, also, oh, go ahead, go ahead.
No, no, no. Go ahead. You keep going. Keep going.
All right. So also, I was thinking we don't have to go this route, right? Because it's just going to add more pages. But just to kind of like grab the reader by the nuts. I was okay. So Club here gets saved by Doreen. I don't know how she does it. If she talks the judges down, or I don't know, right? But she saves
Ah.
him from the gallows, right?
Right.
So I was gonna have it where we're not gonna see the scene where she actually saves them, but we're looking at the scene where they're coming from, right? So it would be like the gallows, and we would have these dudes being hung, and then like the I forget the name of these birds.
Vultures.
Um, yeah, vultures. The vultures come down, and they're looking at the dude like, oh fuck, and then they just
Mm.
rip his eye out, and then that would be like the first page, and then we get onto our story. But that's just an idea.
Whoa. Okay. Okay. You know, the adding and subtracting of pages is not. It's not going to be like heavy-handed guidelines, but
Yeah,
as we discussed in the last episode, you and I are together. It's,
mm,
you want to be realistic by time.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
this is not a paying job, and
Yeah,
and the publication itself, Crom the anthology, has to come out way after I have Crom the Barbarian Collected Revised Edition out. So
yeah,
we're talking
yeah,
about things, but the most important part I think we're getting out of it is this kind of exploration of material and the
yeah,
process of finding ideas, cultivating those ideas, formulating them, putting them down on paper, and I think one of the tougher things in the arts game, making art images, let's say, not even comic book specific, is that you can't get too precious with every little good idea you think you have. And I
yeah,
can find myself in areas where I'm like, I don't want to let go of this, so I'm going to leave it there. And then it
no,
comes out,
yeah,
and the first thing people say, like, oh, it was a really cool story, but why was that thing in there? Like,
yeah,
oh, well,
yeah,
I
oh,
thought it was
yeah,
an
yeah,
idea. I thought it was a good idea. And like that, they're like, yeah, you could have left that out. You know what I mean? Or that could have been
yeah,
expanded
yeah,
on its own.
yeah,
But
exactly.
that gallows thing is kind of a cool teaser. It might not, if we end up doing it,
Yeah.
it might not be immediately in the beginning
Mm, hmm.
of the story. It could be like pages ahead as like a let's
Oh,
like a
like when they're
filler in
talking
space.
about,
And so somebody
yeah,
like
okay,
you make these pages, they're just like, oh, people would be like, oh, that's just David Molina, like he's obviously just sketching
yeah,
something about gallows and vultures. But then when you get to the Last Druid / Last Dryad
yeah.
comic book story, and you hear them say, because it's the
Oh,
first
that's
thing
right.
I
Okay.
believe is said.
Yeah.
No, it's somewhere down.
Before they get to the what do you call it? The hedge, I think.
Yeah, because it's about the yep, right here. So it's Quiet Fool. I could have handled this by myself, but you saved my
There you
life
go.
that time when the judges would have hanged me. But you are weak, weaker than a small bird. You are a coward, Doreen.
Yeah.
Could you kill an old man? Question mark. So on and so forth. So,
Yeah.
so it's more playing out the elements and then finding trimming it down to make sense. But I don't, Jason Schoonover and I have been discussing this in the story that we're working on.
Hmm.
Is, there is a tendency to have a really good idea, work on it for a little while, and then get paranoid that nobody's going to understand it. So you start hammering it down with the dumb hammer.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
this. Oh, they can't figure out that this is a woman. Oh, I'll give her boobs. I'll give her long hair. And
Yeah.
then just those little bit of movements could end up really like ruining it, because instead of an ending
Yeah.
being people going like, oh shit, that was a woman, man. That's great. You know what I mean? It's in
Yeah.
the beginning they go, oh, okay, this is just a woman, and so then
Hmm.
there's no payoff, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think the one thing I want to come back to your design of the maze. when we
Okay.
left off, I don't know how, it's not like I got you to agree to it, but
Yeah.
the idea of compositionally, kind of like, like, let's say like here to here, you've entered a maze.
Okay. Yeah.
So the composition of these panels on this 2-page spread, which is 3 and 4, is way more about being in a maze than anything else,
Okay.
and what you can and can't see. Because you even brought up the fact that the vegetation is encapsulating the concrete hedges,
Yeah.
which would be these stone kind of monolithic kind of things. But they might be, as you're getting there closer to the center, you're seeing more because maybe there's holes in the maze because the deterioration of the the vegetation and everything. So I think having a simple story like we have, and I'm also quoting you on this, and backing it up, is like, how weird can we get, right? Because I would rather see this thing be on the obscure side, like things being
Okay.
basically like, I enjoy it, it's well made, but what's going on? Because this doesn't specifically have anything to do with Crom, but I keep it in the Crom universe. So in his world,
Okay.
this is happening somewhere else. So if there was any time, I felt like, or we felt like, making mention to the Last Dryad or the Last Druid or the, you know what I mean? Or oh, you know who I ran into yesterday? Who? Doreen the Weasel. That piece of shit. Like, blah, blah, blah. What did you do? She was just trying to sell some crap that Clobhair had. Oh, that dummy's still alive. Once again, people would be like, who the hell are they talking about? Oh, well, and then we'll do the little asterisk thing. We'll say, see issue 1 of
right?
the Crom anthology.
Yeah.
And I am way more in the camp of not giving you everything you want. Not you specifically.
No, I get it. Yeah.
But the reader, just because you paid the price of admission of purchasing my comic, doesn't give you the right to walk away with understanding everything. It just doesn't. Because I don't want that. I don't want it at all. One of the first reasons I sell somebody else's comic is because that specific reason. Like, you just gave it all to me. Yeah. Okay, I'm not going to read it again because there's no more mystery in it.
Yeah. All right,
so
cool. Heck yeah.
So the thing I think we're at, and I want to go back to the characters.
Okay.
So I think you're about 85% of the way there. I do think these characters are too clean looking. The feeling of them is that you're convincing me. Like, you have me convinced that this is a woman and she's some type of adventurer, thief type, and this is some sort of big guy, goofy, so on and so forth. But one of the suggestions I had was upper characteristics, lower characteristics. So in other words, like give her wider hips to give her more of a, let's say, female. I mean, she doesn't even need to have any kind of like breasts, female breasts, dainty and small. So she is small. And then, in comparison to him, she could be, like that, that type of thing, doesn't have to be, but I'm just saying, it kind of gives us a like thing. But it is because her designs are lower characteristics. So everything would depend on the design lower. And I also agree that I don't think you need the hair. long
Hmm.
hair because of it's probably a girl guessing.
Yeah.
And everything else. I love everything else. The hood, the sort of drapery, the fact that she has no pants per se, knee
Yeah.
socks, boots, staff, perfect. For him, he has
Okay.
upper characteristics. So, and I think
Mm.
you kind of showed that in the other pencil sketch you had of him, but I think the best part is that big barrel gut, that beer
Yeah.
gut,
Yeah.
you know. Um, so I have no, you know what I mean? But you could even shorten the legs
Okay.
because the upper characteristics would want to be more prevailing, and then even like let's say shortening them, brings them maybe a little closer down to the
Okay.
height of Doreen the Weasel. But I love the the Hulk Hogan kind of like leaning into just just kind of constantly being in the
Yeah.
thing. But the one thing that I had mentioned last time we got together, and coinciding with, I think one of the challenges I would like to see you take on with the maze designing the 2-page spread, the entering at the
Yeah.
last panel, and the exiting, if you
Hmm.
will, somewhere. Oh, actually,
Okay.
this would be the exit. Um, this would be the exit on panel 5, because we still have more story for the rest of 5 and 6.
Mm.
You have a very design um, approach to your panels. So there's something I think that would be really neat for you to explore, let's say abstract wise in
Yeah.
design,
Okay.
by just using the maze, just the
Okay.
elements of the
Cool.
maze, whether it's straight, rounded. I'm not nailed to either one, but the
Okay.
idea is that they're in their time period is so their time period is to we could even maybe bring some of the elements back, or let me just these were pages 1 and 2 is just their character establishment, but you
Yeah.
know there's nothing saying we can't have them getting into the maze sooner than later.
Okay.
um, and then when they enter it, it almost becomes like a two-part story,
Yeah.
and it's just getting to know these two clowns, and then um, their demise, as we have unveiled in the
Yeah.
previous
Um.
episode.
Just a question. So we're gonna have the maze be obscure, especially because it's one, it's overgrown. Two, it takes place at night, right? So, do you want it with more shadows?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm, the best thing about night or darkness for a black and white character, comic book, is
Yeah.
exactly the design. Is
Hmm.
you have to really rely on the black shapes,
Yeah.
um, being because it's easy to just draw out something in lines and then just start filling things in black. But if your first
Yeah.
initiation is based on, I want these black shadows to carry you through design wise these pages in
Hmm.
a maze with these characters, everything else then becomes supporting elements to that, and it's
Yeah.
well
All
designed.
right.
And you already you show that all the time. I'm just super curious to see you have something more challenging,
Yeah.
like as
Okay.
a, as an assignment, if you will.
Yeah.
But because we're collaborating and you're the one we're leaning on the most for establishing the layouts up to
Hmm.
this point. We are still at hope. I did talk to Jake
Okay.
and told him of these two stories I'm working, one with you and one with Jason Schoonover, and
Yeah.
inviting him in and having the three of us together and him already having your pencil layouts, and then
Hmm.
him cueing. He'll question us to death on why wouldn't
Okay.
you do
No,
this?
that's good.
Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
Then those pens. That's why I was like, this looseness is as far as I would want you to go on your
Okay.
your
Yeah, that
pages.
was going to be
So
my other question too.
no, yep. Because your elements, the only question I have, this is the road, right?
Yeah,
This is the road, and then
that's the
they're
road. Yeah.
getting over, yeah. So they're getting over this
Yeah,
hill, and then
they're getting over.
up here is the the entrance to the maze, if you will, right?
Okay, well, we can have it that way. Just what I was envisioning, that was going to be Gallows Hill, and Gallows, they would be walking towards us, right?
Ah,
They're going to be walking
ah,
towards us. Gallows Hill's back
ah.
there with the gallows. I forget. I saw a painting where the gallows were like a structure like that, and it
Yep.
had the little hanging man. I forget what
Yeah.
painting it was. It was an old painting, but I was thinking of that, right?
Yeah.
Um, so I mean, we can't change it the other way, where they're going
No.
towards, you know,
No. Because I
and
mean,
then they could
this.
veer off the road, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you could even go, you could even just go full on, got Gallows Hill, and then just
Yeah. Okay.
have like guys, you know, hanging off of
Yeah.
the, if you want that, because yeah, they're coming to us, because I did a. I did a. How do I put this stuff? Where is it? I thought I had it right here. I probably do. I just keep missing it. There was one thing I was suggesting. Oh, yeah, it's right here. There was just this immersion into the forest. That was the
Uh-huh.
only. So you're
Okay.
you're still, well, like, we're lower, but I would like to see it be like we're kind of still getting a bird's eye of it, because they're going
Okay.
to go into a forest, so they could be
Ah,
coming
yes,
from
yes.
the that type of thing
Okay.
into. And that was just the suggestion of then
Yeah.
leaning
Okay.
into
Okay.
the
I'll
animation.
draw a panel up like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that would be
Then we can choose. We'll have a few panels to choose from. I do that a lot because I don't know which way to go. So on like a separate sheet of paper, I'll be drawing different
sure.
panels, willy nilly here and there.
Oh, I do
Um,
too.
I guess okay. I guess everybody does it. I thought some people just go in and fucking drop the whole composition. Like I'm sure there's someone out there that can do that, but I'm not
Well,
there
when you're
yet.
on a deadline, if you're a jobber and you're on a deadline, and you have a rapport with that publisher and that editor
Yeah.
and the story and the characters, and they're just, I think there's just a lot of like ease. People aren't really trying to. Nobody's. I don't believe anybody at Marvel and DC or any kind of big companies are
Yeah.
turning around and saying to somebody like, hey, I went through your story as an editor, but page 5, what if you change the composition? What about on page 20, instead of it being this, you change the composition? Just, instead of 5 panels, 4 panels, or instead of 3 panels, 6 panels. Just like, to me, that's one of the things I love about working with Jake Jacobs on Turbo is not so much does he say things, because he's doing the penciling for the layouts,
Yeah.
but he'll still suggest to me when he's pre-scripting things to then lay out to get into the pencils. Oh, Kurt,
Yeah.
do we kind of split this, into 2 smaller you know what I mean? Like, so there's always that juggling, but he'll doodle it out,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or I might even do like I do here. I'll take a piece of scrap paper and yeah, well, it could be like that. Yeah, but then it's going to sound like this or look like that. Yeah, no. Okay, yeah, okay. Let's just boom. And that's really what an editor's for, editing,
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
will. And
Yeah, it
unfortunately,
makes
when you're a one man show, there's no editor, and you're myself included too. You're the worst editor because to be
yeah,
highly
yeah,
critical of yourself, there's very little balance you can maintain. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
um,
exactly. And sometimes it's like, oh, it didn't occur to me, like we're talking to someone else, whatever panel, it didn't occur to me that I could used, like for instance, the bird's eye view you just mentioned right now. It didn't occur
yep,
to me. I was too busy trying to show the forest and the characters where it's like, wait a minute, let's show them going inside the forest.
it's still
So yeah,
great. Yeah, I mean, like you don't even need this tree anymore. It just shows that back here is some type of hilly place they're coming from. It could be even like they put the gallows out here because this is the border into that place.
yeah,
Let's say the domain of that land. So this kingdom borders out to these gallows, and they just want you to know,
okay,
hey,
yes,
if you're going to have some tomfoolery in we catch you with some business that you're not supposed to be doing in our town. This is where you come back on the way out, and this is where you're going to
yeah,
stay. That type
there
of
you
stuff.
go.
That's good stuff. I mean, that's super great stuff.
Another thing, Kurt. Okay,
Yep.
so with the maze, right? The
Yep.
maze, we never have the characters in the story come out of the maze, right? They're always in the maze.
Yeah, because where the dryad is, or the woman with the jewel,
Mhm.
tree woman with the jewel, she's at the
Yeah.
she's at the middle of the maze because the druid
Okay.
is just on the outside with the little fire
Hmm.
burning.
Yeah.
He has the verbal altercation with Doreen and Claver, and it doesn't go well for him. And then go from there. I do
Yeah.
also have to
Uh,
say,
yeah.
with the maze design, we
Hmm.
also need to make sure there's some indication of little white
Oh yes, yes, yes.
mice like things. Was it squealing,
Squealing,
and
squeaking everywhere.
squeaking,
Yeah.
right? And we even talked last episode um, that we wanted it to be just catching glimpses here or there. Like it would be
Yes.
something
Hmm.
moving along the back of you got a panel and frame characters moving in a maze, stuff
Yeah.
like that. But there
It would
would
have
be
to be
this
like in
thing.
black, right? I mean,
But then
because
yeah,
they are people. I'm,
yeah. Well,
so
they're
it
going
has
to
to
be
be
a
silhouetted as a what do you call it? Obscure, you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, but we also played around with the idea that we're going to use the squealing and squeaking sound effect,
Oh yes, yes, yes.
right?
Hmm.
So even when things aren't being shown, you're still hearing, and they make that comment like, what's with all these
Yeah,
mice-like things, like blah 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 blah.
yeah,
And then of course there's the reveal at the end where, oh no, which is super
yeah,
cool. So we're just going to want to keep you know ourselves simplistic enough that all the
yeah.
elements will make sense when we get to the when you're done with the 6 pages.
Okay. All right. Cool. Cool.
And
Cool.
here's
Cool.
a question for you. Here's a
Yeah.
question for you. Since the last time we got together, obviously you've already explained that you had other things going on, and you weren't engaging this stuff right now. But did you
Yeah.
end up having any time with these two characters and coming up with your own version, story wise, of them? Like just
Um.
in your own head, like, oh,
Oh.
she probably's from here, or he went there, and they're blah brother and sister, or steps,
n-
whatever. Did you get any of that going
Yeah.
on?
No. 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 Actually. But I think I. I am going to, because that would what's the word? That would kind of tell me more about their character, so
Yeah.
then I can show
Yep.
that through, right? That would
Yep.
show through, if not visually, then when they're doing the dialogue, whatever. But yeah, I still got to do that, and I would, I would like to do that,
But
because
it
then
doesn't have to
it just
be.
rounds out the narrative. Sorry.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be anything substantial like this. Like I
Okay.
I do a lot of meditating,
Hmm.
and the reason I say it that way is that some people are like, well, that's not meditating, that's just sitting around thinking. But the thing is I for a meditative state of working on ideas, I do my best to really isolate myself from anything else other than that idea and all its little elements, and then
Mm-hmm.
start propping them up in my mind. Oh, what if this? No,
Yeah.
well, then they would they do
Yeah.
this? Would they do that? And sometimes it's like only like 20 minutes or something. But then I will make little, scrappy notes, and
Yeah.
then that's enough for me to go back and oh yeah. That would never happen because Doreen. That always happens
Yeah.
because of Clabert. That type of thing because I've already made it up in my
Yeah.
head that this is how they
Yeah.
are,
You're setting parameters, right? So they won't.
exactly,
They
and
can.
and
Yeah.
and so how they act in the panels is based on that as well.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. Heck yeah.
Now, do you have anything else that you want to cover? Because I really don't want to push anything more because I think
Yeah.
we're at a nice
No.
little
Yeah.
sweet spot.
I think that's good for now. I mean, of
All
course,
right,
more questions will arise, whatever. But
right,
for now, yeah, that's good.
good. So this morning I'm about like 9 or 10 marks away from this being completely finished, which is my cover version of Crom the Barbarian Collected Revised Edition, which I have
Sick.
asked 5 other artists, guest artists, to come on board. David Molina was one of the first, if not the first. So he's going to have a virgin cover version of the revised edition, which is looking to be about 120 pages, black and white, 8.5 by
Wow.
11. I have
Nice.
85% of it laid out. I just have to start doing all the filler pages, which is like the indicia, the copyright, the table of contents. There's like an advertising I need for Turbo. You guys are getting double page spreads. One will be of
Ooh.
your pinup, and then on the other side, I'm going to map in a design where it's going to say David Molina, and then some vitals, and then a QR code to get people to basically the predominant place you would want them to go to: website, Instagram, what
Okay.
have you, and stuff.
Sick.
But
That's awesome.
my goal right now is this is a Saturday, the 25th of May. Tuesday, I want to have copies sent on the way to you guys as artist proofs of
Wow.
your virgin covers. Now, here's the big
Sick.
thing. I'm
Yeah.
explicitly asking for critique of the book as
Hmm.
a whole and even
Okay.
nuancing. So I know you guys are all super nice guys, and I'm not going to ever hold anything against you in the way of critiques, but I'm going to really ask and push upon you, each of you, to come on a Crom update and give me, heavy feedback, because you also have the original collection,
Yes.
because I sent those out to you guys to get you involved. And then because I want to be as proud as I can be with the content that I would be putting together for this. But since your guys' art is going to be on the cover, I want you to be proud to
Exactly.
say
That makes
I
sense.
have put my cover on content that is upstanding to the value I want.
Yeah.
In the book. And I even have like a couple of questions I want to ask you guys about changes
Sure.
that might actually set me off a little bit longer in putting it together. But we'll see. And as much as I would love to get this product out to market. It's of no rush.
Yeah.
And when it gets completed, it will then be out there. But
Cool.
I can't thank you enough, David, for supplying this awesome Crom, the Barbarian pinup, which will be also used as
Oh,
a
my
version
pleasure.
cover, and playing with me on a story that will be in the follow-up presentation magazine, heavy metal, sort of savage, sort of Conan inspired 8.5 by 11 black and white comic magazine called Crom Anthology. Which more information
Sick.
will be put as we get closer and closer to that. But other than that, I don't have anything else for these good people. We can let them get back to reading comics, making them if they choose. David, do you have anything on the out?
No, that's it. Just thank you, Kurt, for providing me with this opportunity. I mean, it's been awesome, and can't wait to see what other comics we make.
Oh, yes, I totally agree. And as always, don't be afraid to email me with questions and send me
Okay,
stuff
we'll
that
do.
you're thinking, and we'll keep bouncing back. But other than that, I look forward to the next time we get together.
Cool. Have a good one, Kurt.